Welcome to Living Art. This is KPFT, and you're listening to 90.1 KPFT, and this is Living Art. We are here every Wednesday night, and we're excited to be in the studio tonight with a couple of guests. This is Michael Carson. Michael Woodson, my regular co-host, can't be here tonight. He's recovering from a surgery, and wishing him well. And hopefully he'll be here next week, and excited to have him back in the studio. Okay, so this is Living Art, and we are always enthusiastic about local community art and kind of pushing Houston's art scene out into the world and making people aware of it in some way. And tonight we have two special guests, and the first one is Thomas Meeks.
Hey,
welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
All right, good to have you on Living Art. And Masaya Tamegai, right? Tamegai. Sorry about that. Welcome to have you back. And we had you last week. We were talking a little bit about literature. This week we'll be talking about music, and especially live music. That's kind of our focus for tonight. And so, Thomas, tell us a little bit about what Long River Sessions is, if you could.
Long River Sessions is basically a YouTube channel that me and Masaya run. I guess it's a little bit more than a YouTube channel at this point. We record live performances from local bands of like all different genres and stuff, and do a little bit of post-production and upload them, and we also put on events and do stuff like that too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds like an amazing. It's a YouTube channel, just so our audience knows they can go to Long River Sessions, right?
That's where they go. Long River Sessions, yeah.
Long River Sessions. They should look it up, and they can see these like live performances that you put on. These weekly they come on, or
no? We do them irregularly, just kind of whenever we find. We were doing it more regularly before, but it's something that we do with our spare time. We volunteer for this kind of stuff, so we have to kind of squeeze it in where we can.
Right. No, definitely. Yeah, because you actually run it out of your own house. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have to squeeze that in. And so.
Yeah, definitely. If we have to flip the house inside out to do it.
Okay. Do you do it like in the garage area, or how does that work?
It's in the living room.
The living room. Wow. So it's actually in the house.
If you watch the videos, you see my fireplace.
I've seen that. I know the fireplace you're talking about. Yeah, it looks cozy.
Yeah.
And so you have the bands come in and they perform. About how many songs on a session?
We try to keep it under 15 minutes. If anybody listening has ever done anything on YouTube, you know that retention is difficult. So if we try to keep it short and sweet so that people want to watch the whole thing and want to see more.
Right. No. Yeah. That makes sense, people. That's the internet world that we live in. But it's cool to have this kind of internet opportunity for music. And so what drove you to want to put it on a YouTube type format, to have bands go on this kind of space?
We started it basically because we figured out that we had the stuff to do it, and we had a place to do it, and we had lots of music friends. So we started just kind of doing it for fun. Actually, we were talking about Tom Fody before the show. He was our first episode.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who were like, hey, come be a guinea pig for this idea. We actually did it in a bedroom at that point.
Okay.
In a tiny bedroom. And, we would try to make it look full with like amps around it. And I think we did pretty good. The early episodes looked pretty good, I think. But
it
was tiny. And we had one band. The first band that we had was a band called Queen the Brain from here in town.
Okay. All right.
Everybody has been from Houston that's been on the show so far. And once we had one band in there, we realized, okay, we have to figure out something else.
I love how Tom's the experiment, the guinea pig.
Yeah,
He's the first one.
We've used him for a few experiments.
Okay. We've had Tom on in the past here. He's actually playing live tonight at the Rustic. Is that correct? I think.
Yeah, I think the Rustic Post Oak.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic performer and singer and also storyteller, right?
Indeed.
So that's awesome. So you started there, and then it's a kind of contained space. Is there a reason you do it like in a space rather than like in an open space? Is there a theory or a logic on that?
So basically, like the way it's formatted is to make it flow with where my studio equipment is in the house. It's in another bedroom.
Okay.
So we run, we have to run cables out to it, and behind the camera at the angle that we do the shot at, is a dining room with a big giant mirror wall on it.
Nice. Okay.
So we can't show behind us. It has to. We have constraints that we work in, and it's funny. Almost every band that comes in there is like, "Oh, it looks so much bigger on the on the screen," and it's like, "Yeah, it's a tiny little place. It gets hot. You're going to be cramped,
right?
And I'm going to have to mix out a lot of bleed."
That's awesome. That's the experience of like, yeah, you feel the music, you feel the intensity. I feel even like a tighter space sometimes. I mean, when you go to live performances, I feel that's what it's like. It's cozy, in its own way.
Yeah, it's definitely cozy, and especially for us, it's intimate. It's different because they're playing for Masaya, pretty much.
Right.
I'm in another room. Every once in a while, I'll record it remotely so I can be out there and see it, but usually I like to be in there like by the board, making sure nothing's going wrong. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I love that word intimate to use. Yeah, that makes sense in that context and that kind of the feeling you get when you're watching just YouTube sometimes, but even more so to see like some band that you like or a local performer kind of talking to you, playing for you.
Yeah, and seeing them get in the mind space just to do, we do a lot of like heavy rock and heavy metal, mostly because that's the people I know.
Right.
We've had jazz, we've had pop, we've had everything, but we do a lot of like heavy metal and emotional music, I would say. So it's interesting to see people like get into their headspace and get back out of it and stuff like that. It's really, really, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I can see why. It's going to sound weird, but I like watching singers like up close, like when they're in the midst of like the song, and especially something like heavy metal art. Just the emotion, the vulnerability that people are showing is astonishing. And and you can see it with this venue that you have set up. It's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, what did the name? I guess Long River, is that reference to?
That's the name of the street I live on.
Oh, that makes okay.
Yeah, it's Long River.
Right. I was like the river in Houston, it's Ship Channel. I was thinking about
river.
The Brazos. Yeah. Okay. So the street. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the name of the street I live on. Okay. I live on a cul-de-sac off of it. But I won't get too specific.
Okay, no, that's fine. Long River works. All right, cool. So you started this in 2020, is that correct?
Yeah. We've been doing it 3 years now.
3 years, okay. And why 2020? Anything particular about that year, or about why you started then?
Oh, it's actually because I moved into the house that we do it in. Before that, I was in an apartment, and Masaya was renting a house with a buddy, and we talked about
there's laughing out there. I know what happened in that house.
That's a whole other story, but we talked about doing it there, and I was like, well, I have a recording studio in my house, like we could do it there. And luckily I have a very supportive wife that
I was going to say, are you married?
I am married. I am married, and my wife has been very supportive. She helps out. She's excited about what we do and stuff like that.
Very nice.
But yeah, I think that's why we decided to do it there, is because I basically already had everything to record the audio with.
Okay, right, that makes sense. All right, I think I read somewhere that it had a lot to do also with the kind of pandemic, kind of tied in a place where people could play live as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, nobody was playing live, so I think that's what really made it pick up, because at first we were just kind of doing it for our friends, just kind of trying to make content as a repertoire for ourselves to show what we can do and stuff like that, and then people that hadn't been able to perform got super excited about it, and we started getting submissions, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll take this.
Yeah, this is a thing now.
We'll start bringing on people that we don't know, and then we started. That's when it really picked up, is when we started recording people we didn't know.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're the real deal then.
But people were
strangers
excited
are coming
about
up.
Yeah.
No, that's too fun. Just so everyone knows out there, this is KPFT, and you're listening to Living Art, and we're talking about a local kind of community music venue, just like KPFT is a community radio and kind of set up for the community, right? And I think it's really neat that you have this space that allows just different types of Houston bands, right? And kind of come together and meet each other, like you're saying, these kind of strangers. And you said, what type of music generally do you have?
We do mostly rock. We have like a lot of rock to heavy rock, I'd say. But we've had classical musicians come in. We had a piano and trumpet duo named Duvois.
Okay.
That I met at the church I used to work at, and they're amazing. They're always all over the world and stuff. And we've gone from that. We've had the keyboard player from the Suffers, Edmund, came and did his solo project called Black Nintendo.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which is one of our favorites for sure.
Okay, all right, I have to listen to that one.
We've had country. We've had improv bands. We've had everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, there's something for. That's why we tried. We kind of tried to do the slogan, "A home for music lovers,"
Right.
because it's kind of what it feels like.
Okay.
Know.
Yeah, and I could see that people coming home, after
It's in
these
a house.
touring, and it's in a house. Yeah. But yeah, kind of get that snug, homey feel that you get listening to the music and also seeing that intimate side of the performers, right? And I think that's fantastic. And so this is Long River Studios, and I'm talking with Tom Meeks here. We're thinking about just community music and local venues for that kind of music. I know you're also there's a larger national version of this, the NPR. What's it called? Tiny Desk?
Yeah, there's Tiny Desk, and there's also another one called KEXP in Seattle. That's a really big inspiration for us. They're actually kind of like a blend between us here. I think they're a college radio station in Seattle.
Okay.
But they have bands come in, and along with DJing music, they record big, huge, famous bands there, and they have a big, beautiful studio with lights, and it really inspires me for sure. I love watching it. I love watching all my favorite bands on it. So we take a lot from that. I'd say a lot of inspiration, at least.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm really thrilled that there is this space. And I guess if people wanted to get involved in some way, do they email you? How does it work?
We do accept submissions. You can email us at longriversessions@gmail.com. And we get a lot of submissions, especially right around video release times.
Okay, all right.
We get a lot, so we don't always get to. We find out in public sometimes that we forgot to respond to an email, or
Right.
like, oh, you never responded, or it's like it's
good for people to know that you
please
can get lost. Yeah.
If you do, please be patient with us, and we're also going through some changes right now, so. Right now, we had a couple more booked to do recently, but we had to put them off for now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Giving some space there. Or,
We have some, family stuff going on, and also doing this for 3 years in your house, you kind of wish you just had a house again sometimes.
Right. You need
Especially
that break
when you're married. So.
That makes sense. That's fair. And so, but you do this at home, but you're also in a band yourself, right? Or okay, what's your band called?
I'm actually in two bands.
Two bands.
I'm in one called Burdener, and I'm in another one that's based out of California called Bong Wizard.
Bong Wizards. Okay.
We just went on tour together, actually.
Okay, that's the one. That was the nuclear bong tour, right?
Yeah,
okay, all right,
the nuclear bong.
And
tour.
this was a West Coast tour, or
It was straight up the Midwest to Montana and back.
Okay,
it was
all
just a mini tour.
Okay.
It was like 5 dates over 8 days. We had a lot of downtime.
all right,
Well,
which
drive
is
time,
nice.
actually.
Yeah. And this is you have a California band and a Texas band. So,
Yeah.
Okay. How'd you end up in a California band? Or how does that work?
Well, the main guy in Bong Wizard's name is Justin. He's the brain. It's his baby, and he used to live here. We grew up together, and he moved out to California, and we actually had a band here called Blunt Witch. And when he moved, we didn't have that band, and he's like, I think I'm going to kind of pick that band back up, but I'm going to call it Bong Wizard.
Shifted from blunt to bong. Okay, yeah. The transformation over to California. That's fun.
Yeah.
Totally different. That's cool. And so is it tough being in two bands at once, having to do that, or is it fun for you?
It's pretty. Bong Wizard is pretty light on the workload. We actually, it's been mostly just an internet presence band. There's a little bit of a following for it. It got bigger than we expected it to, but we just played our first show for this tour, and this band is probably 4 years old or something like that. So it's pretty easy to be in that band. And Burdener is my pride and joy. I love that band, and so it's easy to be in that.
Right. I want to talk more about Burdener, but I guess that you just said there about the internet band. And so is that a thing more and more nowadays where bands are just on the internet and they don't do any live performances?
I don't think so. I think that was kind of born out of Justin sort of doing it by himself. And treating it like a project band at first, And as it picked up, he reached back out to me and was like, okay, hey, I want to do more. I want you to play drums on it. And once the idea of maybe playing shows came up, we got our bass player Ronnie involved, and me and Ronnie, we practice here by ourselves, and Justin will practice at home, and we meet up and practice a few times, and every now and then. That's how we did it for this trip, at least, anyways.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always kind of fascinated as we move toward like a more tech world, like where more and more bands and artists themselves more comfortable with just like online presence versus to me, it seems important to have that kind of physical presence, you know, like in a home or in some kind of venue.
Yeah.
But are bands themselves changing in any way?
I think maybe it's bigger to start that way. You know, I think that's pretty common. I've met a lot of bands that start as like one man bands where they use like programmed drums and they're just trying to get their ideas out there, especially during the pandemic.
Right. No, it makes sense there. Yeah.
And then, but you know, if they start getting any traction or attention, I mean, you better start putting together shows and putting together more music and
Right.
you know, like there's this band that I work with out of the UK called Frog Lord.
Great name. Okay.
Yeah, it's great because he's genuinely obsessed with frogs. He raises money for Save the
He's
Frogs.
the Lord of Frogs. Okay.
Yeah, he's into it.
Right.
He wears a cool mask and everything, and he started out kind of like I met him through. He liked the Bong Wizard recordings, and he reached out to me to help him work on his stuff. And he did it the same way. It was just him and some programmed drums and his guitar riffs, and he blew up. He's huge now. He just released, I think, his third or fourth album.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, like in the first day, one of the songs got like 10,000 streams. So he's moved on to playing shows because he might as well.
Right. No, at that point, why not? That's fascinating to me, I guess, too, that the people need that physical intimacy in some way of a venue, of a concert, right? And that's still where singers want to go. There's all, you know, you're talking about AI and different things of new kinds of music will never be replaceable. I mean, that kind of personal interaction that you get in a concert or you get live performances wise.
Yeah, especially with, you know, rock and stuff like that. You know, the most popular music is not rock anymore, though. So, I mean, I think it's easier.
What's the most popular? That's it.
Well, I mean, if you look at the top 40s, you know, it's more like poppy stuff, I'd say,
gotcha,
hip hop and stuff like that. So
right.
I think maybe as far as AI is concerned, that might creep into it.
They're in trouble, but rock's good. Okay,
yeah, rock, man. I think rock is going to stay rock as long as people are alive.
Right. Because that's a lot to do with the body of the person singing it, right? And the being there-ness, I guess, of it.
Yeah, and the culture of it and the
right.
vibe of it. I mean, people go nuts at rock shows, and
yeah.
I think people would really miss that if AI took that over.
AI cannot come for that. That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me about the Burners then. Like, this is a band that your pride and joy. You've been doing this how long? The Burners.
Burners. So we it actually took us a long time to get off our feet because we had a lot of people changes at first, and it was started with me and my friend Alex Davis. So we wrote these songs that we've been playing for a couple of years, but we just started actually being able to put out, you know. So we finally got a singer that worked for us and our friend Garrett Martin, who's also in Trash Cat, and he was also playing with the band Ganesha. And our bass player Dano DeStefano, who's also in a band called Bones, who's really awesome. I think we really found our sweet spot with these folks, so we finally got to put it all together. We recorded the first 4 songs 3 different times. Okay. Know? And so when we finished these recordings that just came out not long ago, I was like, this is definitely the best version of these songs we've recorded.
You know for a fact after going through 4 times. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was more of a slight of like, man, I'm so glad we don't have to do these songs anymore.
They have to be perfect now. There's no going back.
Yeah, I'm not recording those songs ever again.
That's awesome. So this is you have an album already out for this, or
yeah, we have a single that we put out first earlier this year called Sewer, and we just released our EP called Such Pain for Nothing.
Ooh, okay, that's a cool name.
Yeah. We worked with the guy that did the cover art for it. It's this Russian guy, Vladislav, I think his name is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. My phone's over there.
Okay, no, it's cool. Yeah,
he has an interesting name to pronounce. He'll forgive me. But,
sure. And so he made. What was the cover look like? What's the?
Oh man, he does like the most dismal, dreary looking drawings, and he does them. Like,
I love how that's exciting. Like it's dismal and dreary.
It was
perfectly dismal.
Yeah. It's super like manic looking. You could tell he like scratches it out, and it's all these like sad skulls and crazy.
Okay.
It's pretty. It's kind of minimal. I should have brought you a shirt. I should have brought something up
next time. Yeah, it's all right.
I didn't know we were going to talk about Burner, but yeah, it's cool looking, and so he. I met him because Masaya bought me a book that he put out of artwork.
Oh wow! Okay.
And for every drawing he does, he has a like a paragraph of like what he was feeling when he was doing it and stuff, and he is just like he is really good at saying sad stuff, man. Like, he is just really good.
I love that. That's important.
Yeah,
you need that
yeah.
skill. Yeah. Certain people need to have that.
Yeah. So we took inspiration since we were using his art to kind of depict and set the vibe for it. We also used his vernacular for the title of it.
Okay, cool. Is that the title itself came from him as well? Or
No, it's not from him, but it's just based on basically what you read when you like go to his page and from his book and stuff. And we were trying to think of what to call it. And
that is super dismal.
I think
Pain that doesn't go anywhere or do anything.
Such pain for nothing. Just it's
right. At least you can be
nothing.
like it goes somewhere. We discussed this last week with Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
That was our conversation, a literary version of it. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, so this is cool. Yeah,
Just super, depressing, sad stuff.
Right.
I love it.
He also has cerebral palsy.
Oh, really?
that's right.
Yeah. So
Right.
he's always
That would make
about-
sense. The pain. Where does it go?
Yeah.
What does it build towards?
But
That's
his
hard.
art is amazing. It's all soup. Like when I first started following him, all his stuff is just like black pen work, and then
Wow.
he started adding reds and.
Do you
That's
remember
about
his
it. I can look it up. I think it is like Stanislav.
Stanislav. That's
Stanislav.
what it is. That's
Okay.
what it is. I was close.
All right, maybe we'll get him on one of these days. This is really cool that you pulled
But
him
his
in.
Instagram is called Dark Art Stan.
Dark art stand.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
very cool. Okay, so the EP has 3 or 4 songs, or
This one has 3 songs.
3 songs, okay.
Yeah, 3 songs.
okay,
Yeah.
All right, and this is the most recent one that just came out.
Yeah, it just came out probably a month and a half or maybe 2 months now. But,
Okay, if anyone out there wanted to buy it, where would they go?
we have a Bandcamp. I forget the URL. I think it's Burdener at Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can search it up. We've plastered it everywhere we can.
Okay, all right.
And yeah, it has like it's a white cover and it has this like. And once you see it, you'll see exactly what I mean by like describing it.
Okay, I'm excited to look at this, and hopefully people out there do as well. And so you're listening to KPFT. This is Living Art on 90.1, and we're talking to Tom Meeks here about his band, The Burdeners, right? And also Long River Sessions. And so the Burners, they have a show coming up? Is that correct?
Well, it's just burdener, like
Burdener.
you are like someone that burdens, like
okay.
you are the burdener.
Okay.
It's weird. We usually
So there's no "the" in it, or just
yeah,
Burners?
just burdener.
Burdener. Okay, Burdener. Okay, Burdener.
Sometimes we just spell it BRDNER because
Okay, gotcha. To make that super clear, it's burdening on somebody.
Burdener.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so you all have a show coming up soon in the August timeframe?
August 11th. It's Long River Sessions event. Well, now it is. We claimed it, but
You can do that. You can do that as owner of it.
yeah. And it's our second showcase. Last year we had it at Black Magic Social Club, and it went way better than we expected. It sold out, and then there was like a in and out line outside for almost an hour.
Wow, okay.
So it was very, very successful, and we didn't, immediately people were like, "Oh, when's the next one?" And we were like, "We want to keep it special." So
Right. Make them wait. That's what you got to do, yeah.
And I was helping somebody book a Houston show. It's actually the band that's headlining at Sunrise. They're from, I think, New Jersey.
Okay.
And they're like a droney heavy metal band. And I was like, well, we have plenty of heavy metal stuff. Mm-hmm. So we can put that together. I slid my band in there, just why not?
Oh, yeah, definitely take advantage.
Yeah, and then it's also a band called Chironex, which is my guitar player's other band. They've also been on the show. The Virulent, who is a pretty big thrash band in town. They're awesome. They're really good friends of ours too. And then Dad's Mom, which is
Another fun title.
yeah. We have them like opening up the show because the members of it, Jacob and Pee Wee, they're amazing. It's just a duo. It's just a bass and drum duo, and I think it's like mostly improv. They have like a skeleton and they just play off of it. Mm-hmm. And it is, it's not heavy metal, but I really think it fits really well with all the heavier bands and stuff like that. So it's going to be exciting.
Okay, that is exciting. And so this is August 11th, you said?
Yeah, Friday, August 11th. It's going to be at the Compound, which is the new venue that the guys that own the End just opened up right next door to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's like the bigger full size stage. Yeah, it'll doors open at 7.
7.
Show starts at 8.
Okay.
That way it doesn't go on too late. No.
Yeah. Keep it going. No, that's really cool. And so, and then I guess you're local Houstonian, right? Born and raised, you were telling me earlier.
Born and raised.
And so have you been playing live music here for a long time at different bands, or this is just a recent thing for you?
Oh, no, I've been playing in bands since I was a kid. I remember playing at the old Cardi's off of 59 a long time ago, but then I went into a phase where I got tired of playing in bands and just started DJing and making drum and bass music.
Okay, all right.
Which is still awesome. I still love playing drum and bass and writing drum and bass stuff.
Yeah, I could see why. Yeah, it's fun. And then, so I guess just thinking about your first time, I mean, performing live. I mean, do you have any memories of that? It's kind of interesting to me. I mean, does it stand out to you, like what you felt, or like that first time?
I was 15 and I was in a grindcore band.
Okay.
Called, I don't know if I can say the name of it, so I won't.
Just in case. Don't do it.
Yeah, just in case. But I remember we would play at Cardi's a lot, and the White Swan, and the owner of Cardi's, his name was Ted. He was super, super supportive of like the young kids just trying to get out there, and so we would show up, and he would be like wearing our shirts and like being a fan for us and stuff like that. So I really remember when I was young, there was a lot of really supportive people in the community. You know, especially for how young we were.
Right.
Because it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so you've been doing that the whole time, and created a space for other people to have that too, that kind of live performance space. That's a new kind of space. With the Long River Sessions. I mean, that's fantastic. Well, cool. And then, so you have the show coming up, and then you have you just got back from a tour too, right? Yeah. And I did want to ask you, like, thinking about different kinds of music. You have like this intimate at-home music that's played and then videotaped for YouTube. And then you have concerts, venues, right? And then you have like the tour version of concerts, right? And so, do you like going on tour, or do you so
that was actually my first stint going out of state like that. You know, it wasn't a huge one. It was just a little bit, but basically, I loved it. But we were all good friends in the car. Like the mood stayed good, the vibe was good the whole time. I've been on road trips where it didn't feel that way, and you don't appreciate it as much.
Right. I could see that being a disaster if, like, there's something little. I mean, over time, you're living together, you know, and performing together artistically.
Yeah, and this trip, there were 7 of us in the car, and when we were booking the truck, we were using. Masaya knows where I'm going with this. We used Turo, which is this app. It's basically like Airbnb for a car.
Okay.
You can rent somebody's personal car. It's way cheaper.
Oh, all right.
And it's pretty cool. So a touring van is super expensive. So we got a 7-seater SUV. And I thought, okay, yeah, it'll have 7 seats and space in the back for some stuff.
No luggage, yeah.
Oh, man, the back row was for kids with no legs, it feels like, because there was no space. It was seat and then back of seat.
Right.
And
they just had to sell it that way. This is 7-seater. Yeah.
And it was not what we were expecting. So it was a fun journey.
Got to know each other. Wow.
Definitely got to know each other. Definitely had to take turns swapping around a lot. Everybody drove. Some people drive better than others. And
it's a lot of backseat drivers when you have 6 other people.
And
commenting on driving.
I was not a backseat driver.
Yeah, Masaya was like, he found a backseat that he fit in, and he's like, I'm just gonna stay.
Just curled up and went to bed. Yeah,
pretty much.
Wake up. That's the way to do it. Just suffer through it.
Yeah, I was sitting Asian squat the whole time, pretty much.
Really?
Sitting,
Okay.
The cross-legged or whatever, but I was the only one that could fit back there.
It's good. Someone doesn't complain. Just go rolls with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just leaned over, fell asleep every once in a while.
Right.
And during the whole time, I was. The great thing about it was because we were in the car for 8 to 12 to 14 hours at a time. I had enough footage of each show where I just sit back there and edit on my phone.
Okay, very cool.
So it was definitely productive. At times it was uncomfortable for my legs, but other than that,
got a lot of work done
the whole
back
time.
there. Yeah, it's a good vantage point for seeing everyone else complain about that.
Well, or it was a good way to block it out.
Right. To edit that out.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Looking forward to checking out some of that. It's a hard experience for me to imagine. I mean, just everyone in a van, packed and going from show to show and tired. I mean, you perform and you get right back in the vehicle, right?
Oh man, yeah, we did not get to sleep at all. Like every city has its own story. There's one time where someone let us stay at their place, and it was, I don't know if they were prepared for 7 or 6 big guys and Masaya and a little guy. But like the Montana show, the whole reason we booked it was because we got booked for a festival in Montana.
Really? What festival was this?
It was called Mosh in the Mountains.
Mosh in the Mountains. Okay.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, we might as well do dates around it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I hit up Justin from Bongwiz. I'm like, hey, now's the perfect opportunity for us to play shows, so let's do it all together. That's how it went down. But back to not sleeping. In Montana, I decided that everybody went and put their tents in this place that had no trees because it was free. And I was like, no, it's $20 for a camping spot over here where there's a tree.
That's your Texas knowledge.
Yeah.
It's better not to be in the open.
Well, my Texas knowledge didn't do me very well because it's also right where all of the people that stay up till 5 a.m. We're camping. So the whole time.
That's California knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't think I slept more than 2 or 3 hours a night. Any night on that trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah. And every time you're about to get on stage, you're like, I don't know if I can do this. And then after the show, you're like, holy crap, I did
Let's
it.
go do something else. Yeah. Let's keep on going. That's incredible. I mean, it would be like a marathon, going from place. And do you have places where you're going to sleep beforehand? Or you just meet people that offer along the way? Or you're like, there's a camp spot, you kind of feel it out?
We kind of did a little bit of all of that.
Okay.
We had some friends in Denver and Wyoming. We had friends that would let us stay at their spot, and we tried to camp anywhere that we could as well. But yeah, the camping, we got rained out once, so camping is dangerous to plan on.
I don't know, man. I think the rain in Kansas was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I think Garrett just sleeping in the car while we got rained on is what ruined it for me. He's the singer, so he gets to do that, I guess.
I hope Garrett's listening.
I hope he's listening too. To be honest. I try to give him. Give him stuff about that every time I can.
Thanks, Garrett. I don't know if you heard that part.
Yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, we were just talking crap about my singing.
Well, there was a.
What's
one
wrong with
time,
this Garrett, your singer?
Yeah, he got to sleep in the car on the one day we were camping, and it decided to rain on us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think all of us ended up being woken up to the nice soothing sounds of rain on the tent, and I'm not being sarcastic. It was actually quite
it could be
relaxing.
Nice
Yeah.
And then as soon as it let up, Tom goes, "All right, we got to go right now, right now." And I was like, "Okay, all right." But I'll tell you what, that was probably the fastest breakdowns, or me personally.
Yeah.
It wasn't fast for everyone else, but we put our stuff away super fast compared to any other day out there. So it was definitely a fun day for sure. And the cool thing is, I don't know if you've ever camped in the rain, but you can hear the thunder move across the sky or whatever. You can hear it move. Oh man, it was definitely amazing. I've never camped in that.
That was your first time camping?
Oh, in the rain.
In the rain, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's a scary experience, I would imagine, but then you get beautiful moments.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too scary because we were in a campsite.
Right.
Where it wasn't where did we camp the first time? Amarillo.
Yeah. First we camped in Amarillo.
Oh, that's out there. Okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't have animals walking up, you're saying?
In Amarillo, I think we did, right?
There was water buffaloes in the little lake right in front of us. And then we found, our Garrett again lost his sunflower seeds, and the next day we found a trail of droppings that were full of sunflower seeds, and he's like an animal and bug nerd, so he knew, I forget what animal it was. There was a few different animals out there.
One happy animal finding
one happy
sunflower
animal
seeds.
had a bunch of snacks, yeah.
That can be terrifying. I went camping. I think last time I went camping, I was by myself, and middle of the night, like a giant cow of some sort, just like banging against my tent.
Oh no!
I was like, I'm never camping again. Like this is not fun. Not peaceful. Yeah. But
speaking of camping, I wanted to bring up your intro song. Did you pick that?
we did. That's actually Michael Woodson's, my co-host. That's his son's music.
Oh,
yeah, that he created.
It reminds me of the Renaissance Festival. I was thinking, like, man, I just want to go camping at Renfest now.
Yeah, no, good place to camp. Listening to that kind of music. Yeah, fantastic song that he kind of provided for us. But it does have that kind of vibe, that little bit, that Renaissance chiming to it. Yeah, they had a camp back all the time back then. I would not want to live back there. I would not make it long in Renaissance times.
No, but the fairs. Renaissance fairs.
The fairs are fun. Exactly.
So have you ever been there?
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have them all over the place, the Renfest.
Oh, not the one here?
Not the Texas one. I've not been to that one.
I think I only been once. And,
okay. Did they have that on California too? I assume they have it everywhere.
No. I mean, if they did, I've never
go.
been there or seen it or even heard of it, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
so how was your first experience going to the Renfest?
The first time I went, it was, unfortunately, it was subpar.
Okay.
But because I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't go there with someone with experience. I feel like my first time was with them.
Okay, so your first time was someone who didn't know anything about it either.
Yeah, they just wanted to cosplay and go up there, and I was like, I kind of want to drink meat and eat a turkey leg.
Right.
We didn't.
You were clashing.
Well, not clashing, but I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna soak this in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm seeing all this cool stuff, but I was being pulled here and like, check this out. No hate, but yeah, it was like.
I thought our wedding was your first time.
No, that was the first time I saw that area and went to the campgrounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first time I just walked through and I thought it'd be funny to wear one of those rice picking hats.
Oh, like the Japanese.
Yeah, I figured that's the same time.
Yeah, the Renaissance. That makes sense. Medieval Japan.
Yeah,
would be around there. Yeah, okay.
But I was the only one.
No one like that.
I feel like I could do that because I'm Asian, but at the same time, I feel like everyone else's costume was pretty cool, and I was just like the only Asian rice picker there.
just be like, I'm just trying to keep the sun out of my eyes.
Right. Traveled from Japan
I had
beautiful times.
The collarless jacket thing too. I did the whole get-up.
Oh wow, you went all in. Okay. So this is at the wedding? Your wedding?
Oh no.
This is the first time I went. His wedding was pretty cool.
So you did your wedding at Renfest?
Yeah, I got married at the Renaissance.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
It was awesome.
Like what part? Before you got kicked out, like
no, not kicked out. We also got rained on.
Rained on. Okay, this is nice. I mean, so where do they actually have the weddings at Renfest? Is it like in like the part with the knights and
things? They
have
like 6 chapels there.
Okay.
Yeah, that you can pick from, and we picked. They have one that's basically like it's like a wooden skeleton of a building, but it's covered in vines.
Okay.
And it was they go all out for weddings at the Renaissance Festival. I highly recommend looking into that. If anybody's looking to get married,
next person I know getting married, I'm like, you're doing.
It's cheap, and like they brought my wife Ashley in on like a carriage with like a bunch of soldiers with swords, and they go crazy for it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then we just had the reception at the campgrounds.
Okay.
And took up like a big area, and it was great. Yeah.
That sounds like its own performance and atmosphere of that place is really kind of fun.
Yeah, they put on a big performance for a wedding there.
Right. Okay. What a fun idea for a wedding too. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. But it can be scary the first time. I know the first time I went to. Yeah. And I think the Texas one is like the biggest one too in the country. I'm sure it's Texas.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. I'm like just walking through the campgrounds for the reception. You can get lost in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Even in the part that's not the campgrounds, I guess the Renaissance area, you can definitely get lost there too.
That's what I remember. It's like, I mean, it's a whole city. It's a cool.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of like your music, do you feel like you were influenced at all by like Renaissance music or any of that kind of stuff? I mean, obviously you love the Renaissance Festival. So.
No, I'm a nerd. I love like fantasy and fantasy books and stuff like that too. But I mean, I play the drums, so I don't really get to put forth any of that kind of stuff into my music.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's some drums back then, right?
There was something. I mean,
yeah. What is the instrument they use? Like the cello, or they have like the not a flute. What are the Renaissance? Like they have some kind of special.
Like the pan, the half goat guy, right?
Yeah. The piper almost.
Is that what it? Yeah, I don't know.
I think they call it. Is it a penny whistle?
A penny whistle. Yeah, that makes sense. He does like Shakespeare and the penny whistle.
I forget. There's a guy at the church that I work at that pulls out he's the percussion guy, but every once in a while he pulls out a penny whistle, and every time we're like, oh, Steve brought out the penny whistle again.
Not the penny whistle.
Not the penny
These
whistle.
things are dangerous.
So I think that's called a pan flute. That's what
I was thinking. Yeah, the guy like in the forest
yeah,
dancing with
yeah,
the pan
yeah.
flute. Yeah.
I think he's called.
It's kind of
pan,
Greek too,
yeah.
I think, or maybe Renaissance and Greek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put it all back there.
Yeah.
It's too funny. And so you also do. You say you Renaissance. That's not musically influenced, though, but you do church music as well. You help your local church. Is that correct?
Yeah. I run front of house audio for a church.
House. Okay. All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's just different. It's funny because you've named a lot of different genres, right? And and would you say like one is like your favorite genre that you go to the most, or if you had to choose?
For listening to,
Mm-hmm.
I personally, man, it kind of depends on the day. I listen to a lot of rock and heavy metal and stuff like that. But I love listening. Shoot, I'm trying to think of a time I listened to something different. I'm thinking of yesterday. I was just listening to like classic Italian songs
nice.
and stuff like that,
right.
and I was thinking about Tom Foti again.
When are we not thinking about that?
Literally, me and my wife were cooking. We were listening to like some old Italian songs. I was like, I bet this is what Tom Foti looks, because he's very Italian.
Gotcha.
Right? So,
Yeah. New Jersey, Tom. The
That's
that's excellent. I always wonder, I guess, in terms of musicians to be successful, do you focus on one genre and like kind of study that? And I'm sure you do that, but you also you look at all types of music and like mix the influences. Is that what tends to happen or not?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I also record a lot of bands, and so I get very familiar with new genres that way, because I have to kind of study them and listen to their references and see what they want, if it's something I've never done before, and try to get in the ballpark of what they might like, especially and doing this too, like mixing jazz bands. I never, we did the Houston Ensemble, which was another amazing band that came on, and it was total just shred jazz the whole time. And it was amazing, so I went on a big kick with that for a while and started listening to stuff like that. And then we had Johnny Falstaff come on, who's a honky tonk guy, and got into that for a little while.
Okay. It's important to know your stuff before you're recording them. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, he brought in a pedal steel player, and I'm like, okay, how do you mix a pedal steel player?
Gotcha.
And then you start learning the influences and stuff like that. And so I kind of get forced into learning and listening to new stuff, and I just go down rabbit holes and tangents and stuff sometimes.
Right. Sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I do a lot of heavy rock and metal, though.
Okay.
Mostly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably the go-to.
Right. It's good to have that, but it's also fun to have that kind of openness and create that space where people feel comfortable. And just so if you all came in late, we're talking about the Long River sessions, right? And with Tom Meeks here, and he's talking about how he records and the different types of recordings he has. And I just want to impress the audience, people out there listening, if they want to check out Long River sessions, they go on YouTube, right?
Yeah, YouTube. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and go to the YouTube and subscribe, man. It's hard to get subscribers.
Okay, subscribe and comment too.
Yeah, do that.
It's wonderful, because it is wonderful. And like, who's I mentioned this earlier, your headliner, I guess, the one that pops up, was that band?
That's
Shame on Me.
pinned to the top. Yeah, Shame on Me.
Shame on Me. This is what was their genre? Because I've never heard of this genre
They
before.
call themselves Spooky Doo-Wop.
Yeah.
Spooky Doo-Wop. I love it. That's like my new favorite thing.
That's exactly
and
what
they
they
play
are.
often. I see them playing all the time. So if you ever catch them live,
Right.
my God, yeah, like it looks great on the sessions, but if you see them live, it's also another experience.
I could see that being an experience in and of itself.
And-
And I love how it's like super old feeling, but also super new feeling. And it's just very unique. And I think you used haunting in the description of it actually on the site, but it's a great word. Yeah, it's like, this is haunting.
No, the last session. I even told Mel, the lead singer, that I don't know what she did this time around, but it dropped such a big nostalgia bomb on me. And it was bringing all these emotions out. So like while I'm shooting and watching and listening, I'm like trying to hold back this lump in my throat, and I was like, what is going on here? But it really reminded me of like California, like when I was a teenager, listening to Sunday night oldies or something like that, and like all the lowrider music, and I was just like, oh, I haven't heard this in such a long time. Yeah, it was. And it was actually kind of tough editing it, just because I had to listen to it and watch everything over again. So
right, it was a painful pleasure.
It was more. I think it was more like being homesick of California just for that moment in time. So it gave us like a week to edit, or I don't know how long it took, but I probably watched that video hundreds of times, and around the 200th time, that's when I was like, okay,
I gotta stop.
I can do this. No. And then I was like, okay, I can finish this now. Oh, there it is again. Oh, I can finish this. Yeah, it was definitely a good one, though.
Yeah, no, I love it. I had that same kind of weird reaction. I've been listening to a lot of like 50s, 60s jazz. Like, I don't know why. And watching older 70s movies. It's what with Michael Woodson kind of thing we've been doing. And yeah, that weird nostalgia for that time. And it comes out, but it's also, very new and raw, and feels present. What they call it like a mix of Cajun music too in there? Or wasn't it had like a 4 genres spliced into like the description.
All in one,
but yeah, that weird kind of I don't know, that the nostalgia for an older era, right? But it's kind of mapped onto the present, and yeah, it's funny. I had the same reaction.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? I guess I feel I've been hearing a lot about. I mean, you're rock, not heavy, right? Like in terms of, would you describe your rock as heavy rock, or what kind of rock?
Burdener? Or
Burdener
is pretty heavy, like post-hardcore.
Post-hardcore.
Yeah,
okay.
They're pretty loud and heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been hearing a lot more about like heavier rock, and there's kind of like a renaissance of that, I feel, within a lot of. I've been seeing it pop up in a lot of different musical communities, and like, what would you say the state of it is right now? The heavy rock.
The state of heavy rock. That's a great question, man. It's there's a lot of things that go into it. There's a resurgence of the 90s right now. I mean, I can't tell you how many shows I've gone to, and half the younger guys look exactly like Kurt Cobain.
I've seen that with some students. Nirvana is in again. Yeah.
Nirvana is in again, which is amazing. Good for them. Good for Dave.
Right.
But
not for Kurt so much. Yeah.
But man, there are so many amazing rock. Like Ganesha is one of our favorite Houston rock bands. Like, they shred, dude. They are so good.
Ganesha, okay.
I don't think there's any lack of talented rock and guitar players and drummers and bass players out there right now, especially in Houston. And hardcore and like punk is pretty popular right now, and even classic death metal is coming back. Like, there's a band called Stabbing right now from Houston. Mm-hmm. They're huge, and I used to be in the death metal scene back, 15 years ago. I was in it, and it sounds a lot like the stuff from back then. And I was like, man, we were playing at the White Swan, and it was just the bands and their ladies standing around, and it's crazy to hear a band that sounds, they call it TXDM style, or Texas death metal. It's like kind of slammy, and usually has a little bit of like a grooviness to it. It's amazing to see like this band comes up and people they're packing shows. They're traveling now and stuff. It's like, it's really cool to see that. I think like during the 90s, there, especially like with recording and production and music in general, like it was all trying to get as clean as you could and pristine. And I think around probably the late 2000s, 2010s, people were like, man, I want the rawness back. I want the realness back. I want to hear some distortion on drums. I want to hear the real stuff again. So people are doing it, man. They're shredding. They're all going crazy.
That's awesome.
And they're packing giant shows, especially the younger 20-somethings.
Right.
Man, it's crazy to see their shows. They're all going wild.
That's fantastic. It's fun to see the younger generation like pick up older trends and like shift them, but also find them again, and make them new. Like, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It says Texas death metal, huh? I have no idea.
TXDM. I got it tattooed on me still. It was one of
my
first tattoos.
Yeah. Those actual letters, TXDM.
Yeah, I'll show
it. Or KPFT, LivingArt. Yeah, that is a tattoo. Texas death metal.
That is a tattoo.
So I'm not a poser. I mean, I was there.
Okay, you were part of that scene before the scene was a scene. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that. But I mean, it was. I did venture into others.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'll say.
No, that's exciting. I love the idea of like the larger crowds, and I didn't know that Houston has such so many bands that in that genre too. And would you say like Houston's music scene is more rock focused, or if you had to say like one type of music, or is it just all over?
It's kind of. I was having this discussion with somebody a couple days ago, and they were like, "Oh, well, like you should put more of a hardcore influence on your music because that's what's really popular in Houston right now." And it's like, well, I can go talk to another guy that'll tell you that progressive jazz is really big in Houston right now, or something like that. I don't know if progressive jazz really is, but I mean, whatever scene you're in, right now they're pretty much flourishing. It feels like so everybody's like, "Oh, cool, this is big right now in Houston. This is hot in Houston right now," and it's like I think people are just out supporting.
Right, people are outside again, yeah.
And that's always been a thing with Houston. It's like people either do or don't when it comes to supporting local music, know, and I think it's a lot better now than it was when I was younger, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's thriving. I think it's healthy for now.
Okay. That's excellent to hear. I mean, it's all about that community support, and I just think that's also fantastic. It strikes me what I know about Houston too. I mean, you have the different communities, so many different communities, and so many different types of music can flourish at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And that's unique and awesome about the place.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. And just a reminder to people out there, to our listeners, we're talking about Long River Sessions tonight, and please check it out on YouTube. And you can see that diversity of music and kind of this intimate setting. And they're playing a couple of their songs, right? And they play it in a house, right? And you hopefully musicians out there, you might contact Tom as well if they're interested in getting involved, even though the list is very long, right, at this point.
It's more than we can usually handle, but we try to listen to every single one of them.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Well, cool. And so and in terms of next year out, any more tours coming up for you? I know you have your performance on August 11th, right? And,
we have the showcase on August 11th at the Compound. But other than that, we're still we just loaded all of our gear back in our practice space yesterday. So we have talks of another tour next summer and maybe like another little stint around outside of Houston, but in Texas in the fall.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and we try to make Long River content out of whatever we can too. So it benefits. Both of those trips would benefit the channel and the band.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, get out there and support that, hopefully. And that's exciting. And so if you were wanted to name a couple more local Houston bands that were part of the kind of the heavier rock scene, what do you call it, post-progressive or
post-hardcore?
Post-hardcore, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what Burdener is. Mm-hmm. But as far as heavy bands in Houston that we love, or heavy rock, we just had Warlung on, which was, I was fangirling during that one. I've been a fan of them for a long time.
During Warlung, okay.
We've had God Hand on, who's they're really awesome. They're more toward the death metal side, a little slammy. Who else have we had on that's heavy?
Iron Code.
Iron Code, yeah, they're really good. They're kind of, I think they're like Death Slam. I think that's what they call themselves. They're kind of, they remind me kind of like of a new metal, death metal thing. They're really, really, really good.
Okay. What does Death Slam mean in terms of is that how you use your body when you're singing? Or
So I guess the slam is like reference to breakdown.
Okay.
So it's more like, it's just a bunch of like heavy breakdown.
Okay.
Lots of China cymbals.
China cymbals. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Death Slam is like just I guess, slammy death metal.
Right. Okay, very cool. And then and you also use the slam with the Texas hardcore as well, right? That includes. Could you describe that for me one more time? I
guess like the hardcore. When I say post-hardcore, I'd say it's more like upbeat, like it's like punk, but more infused with like heavy metal. And Burdener has like a lot of doom reference or not references, inspirations.
Okay.
So we have slow parts that drag on, and people have called us all sorts of different things. I mean, but the cool thing is that every band has the opportunity to be infinitely unique now, and everybody's pushing borders, and people are they're doing more improv in their performances and stuff too. So it's really hard to put titles on a lot of these bands nowadays.
Right.
I mean, unless you're blatantly like a stoner rock band or just a doom band,
Right.
In Burdener, we try to break all those lines. We try to really every song.
I don't know if you've listened to them yet.
I have, but one song that you sent, yeah.
Oh my! I'm not in the metal or death slam scene at all. I'm more into the jazz, reggae, hip hop scene, but Burdener is definitely one of the most different bands I've ever heard. There's moments where you can nod your head to it, like you're listening to some sort of like slow hip hop, and then there's like faster and heavier stuff. But I wouldn't say it's easy listening, but it's definitely, you can definitely find the groove to it,
right,
and get down to it for sure. And if you ever watch or the Long River sessions of Burdener, probably one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Start there.
Okay. There's lots of heavy interacting with the camera. There's not a lot of that in a lot of the sessions. So they definitely took advantage, and you can definitely tell that a lot of them watched a lot of the sessions and was able to play with the camera, go talk into the camera, look at other cameras, and interact as if they're interacting with the viewer through the lens. So it was definitely one of the best ones that I've filmed.
Okay, right.
Because it was exciting.
Yeah, he's right here. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
But it's true though. It was exciting for me because I was worried. What's Garrett gonna do next? Do I have to make sure that I'm not too close so he bumps into the camera, or and as the camera guy, I have to definitely catch all those moments that he was doing. It was definitely unpredictable in that.
That's the best, and it shows. I mean, with your various musical backgrounds and how that would come out in this as well. You never know what's going to happen next. And
our guitar player Alex, he's also an amazing violin player, piano player. He works as actually a camera operator at the Houston Symphony. Alex is, I'll credit Alex with almost everything that's awesome about that band because he is an amazing musician. Garrett is also an amazing frontman. Yeah. And Dano is a awesome bass player. I'm okay, I guess, but
You're great.
I think the songs really come to life because they come from Alex's brain. He's a musical genius. He was also on Long River Sessions as
number 2.
What was his alias? I forget.
He was just Alex Davis.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was just his name.
And
that's right.
He's very straightforward about it.
He uses an alias for this type of performance that he does, but it's one of the things where he's like playing basically the drums on an acoustic guitar. And playing it like it. I'll show you after the show. If you're listening and you love acoustic guitar and you want to see an extremely talented acoustic guitar player, look up Alex Davis on Long River Sessions. He's amazing.
And then go listen to Burdener, and you're like,
Burdener.
What?
And then watch them.
How these go together? But I mean, you can feel it, like you're saying in there. I mean, that's great music. That's great musicians that survive. The music speaks to different audiences, and you don't know what to expect. It's good art.
Yeah.
And so that's incredible. And you can see them, and you can also see many other local bands on Long River Sessions, right? And thank you both for coming in tonight.